kids are out partying and stuff like that. And you're like, shoot, well, I know I got class at 9. So that means I got to wake up like 6. I got to eat. I got to get my workout in and go to class at 9. So you're trying to go to bed early, try to make whatever it can work.
This is your captain speaking. My name is Taylor Morgan. I am a CrossFit Level 2 trainer, and I am dedicated to helping you improve your life. I created the Captain's Lifestyle because I wanted to help as many people as possible. We cover topics ranging from fitness, nutrition, recovery, mindset, and more. If you're content with settling for average, then walk the plank. But if you're ready to become the captain of your own life, welcome aboard. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Captain's Lifestyle. I'm your host, Captain Morgan. On today's show, we have another special guest with us. He is a student at Boise State College studying kinesiology. He has his CrossFit Level 1. He competed at regionals last 2 years. In 2017, the California Regional, and then this last year, 2018, the West Super Regional, West Coast Super Regional. Last year, he was also the fittest in Idaho, and he has competed at Wodapalooza the last 4 years. And this year's Open, he finished 122nd in the world, where I finished like 7,000 something. So please welcome on the show, Justin Medeiros. Justin, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. So you're only 19, correct?
Just turned 20.
Just turned 20.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how did you get your start like into CrossFit? Or actually just give a little background about yourself first.
All right. Well, ever since growing up, I've always been into sports, just doing whatever I could. I had a pretty cool PE teacher growing up, and she always just kind of got me into doing like triathlons, got me into football, track, just whatever that may be. And once I got into middle school, I moved to a bigger school in town and started playing football. And about my 7th grade year, I started doing CrossFit. My mom actually was the one that got me into it. And she's like, oh yeah, I went to the gym and like we did a workout today. We're there for an hour. We warmed up. The workout was like 10 minutes and then we left. And I'm like, what? I was like, you're telling me you just got to work out in 10 minutes? Like, yeah, there's no way that's gonna, like, that's possible. Like, not possible. I have all these friends in high school. They're like, oh yeah, we're at the gym for like 2 hours today and like did this and this. And I'm like, whatever. But I was super competitive. So I went in and I started loving it. It was awesome. And then, going on, I always did wrestling and football. And then my sophomore year in high school, I ended up quitting football and focusing more on wrestling. My end goal was always to wrestle in college, but I always did CrossFit to kind of help me along. It was one of the best ways to get me in shape, and it was always super fun. And then my senior year came around, and I was still in love with CrossFit, and wrestling was just kind of getting started to put on the back burner. And I wasn't going to pick a school for wrestling, and it all worked out, and I'm just full-time CrossFit.
Sweet. So before we get into like what you're doing now, you want to talk a little bit about how, like in high school, how you used CrossFit to train for like wrestling and football?
Oh yeah. So, one of the biggest conflicts I have was my, high school football coach. He was always really against CrossFit. And I think it was more of kind of an ego thing. I was a freshman coming in, and I mean, if you don't know what the CrossFit methodology is, it's just really about functional movements and moving right and how your body's supposed to function. And he was always kind of more like a powerlifter guy, but I was a freshman going in there and outlifting a lot of the seniors just in like the clean and a lot of those more technical movements. So he was always hating on CrossFit. But yeah, my freshman, sophomore year, I was doing wrestling and football. And then CrossFit was more kind of, I would go on the weekends or like on my breaks, and obviously over summer when I had a lot more time. And then after that, I started going into my junior year. I realized that like I really liked competing in CrossFit. So I would end up going to wrestling practice, and after wrestling practice, I would obviously try to eat, fuel my body, and then I'd go back and then do CrossFit for another 2 hours. And that was pretty much my routine my junior, senior year, but it was never felt like it was like work. I mean, CrossFit every day is something different. So we always just got to go in, have fun. And then at the same time, I was able to outwork all my opponents on the mat and wrestling. I was never the most like technical guy, but I was outworking my opponents. So
that work capacity.
Oh yeah.
What CrossFit builds. So you said your mom got you started into CrossFit?
Yeah.
That's crazy. What year was that? Like, how old were you?
I was like going into my 7th grade summer. So
yeah,
I was probably like 12 or 13.
Yeah, pretty
13,
early.
14, kind of right around there.
And were you doing a CrossFit Kids course, or did you like jump into the class and just scale everything?
I kind of just jumped into the class. I was pretty lucky. The gym that I got into, they were just opening. They're probably been open for about like 8 months to a year. So
Another level?
I was at another level.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had a really small like group of people already in there. And what they were working on when they started was building people up from level 1 to level 100. So I hopped in there when it was still pretty new, and the workouts weren't super like crazy or intense, but they kind of just helped me like build up as the way. But yeah, I was just doing the normal classes and scaled it when I needed to.
Awesome. Okay. So when was it that you decided to make CrossFit like your full-time thing? Like you thought you were going to go to school for wrestling. Was there like a specific point where you're like, wrestling is kind of on the back burner now, and I'll focus like 100% into CrossFit?
Yeah, I think that was more kind of coming into my senior year. I was wrestling and everything, and I kind of wrestled my senior year because I've been wrestling since like 3rd or 4th grade. And I was just, I mean, once I start something, I'm always going to finish it. Yeah. Not kind of wanted to give up halfway through. And but just I knew every day going to wrestling practice kind of felt like more of a chore. And then I was always looking forward to going to CrossFit right after. So that kind of was the more realization that like, hey, like I like love this sport. Yeah. Like it's awesome. And then coming into the end of my senior year, I qualified for regionals, and that kind of was a little bit of an eye opener that like I can compete in the sport. So
yeah, I can imagine. So yeah, at 18, if like you qualify for regionals, you're competing with, were there any other 18-year-olds that year at regionals?
There was, I think, a total of 3. We're all kind of scattered throughout or whatever, but none
in your regional.
No, none in my regional.
Yeah, so you're competing against every other CrossFit athlete, like up to probably Josh Bridges was probably the oldest in your regional.
Yeah, the age group's 18 to 35. I mean, if you're younger than 18, you can compete in it, but there's like teenage divisions. If you're over 35, there's a 35 to 40 division, but pretty much everybody's kind of right around there.
So let's talk a little bit about your like early introduction into regionals, because most people are like training their whole lives to be able to go to regionals and like working up into their 20s and 30s. And you started like your first regional was at 18, like the first year that you could. So you want to talk a little bit about your experience there as an 18-year-old competing against all these other established CrossFit athletes?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just, I mean, obviously, like I said, my primary focus going up to pretty much regionals was wrestling. So even during the Open, for those of you guys that don't know, the Open is how you qualify for regionals. It's kind of a 5-week process. But the first 3 weeks of the Open, I had sectionals and then state. So I was doing the workouts Thursday night when they came out.
For wrestling.
I was doing the Open workout Thursday night, and then Friday I had to make weight for wrestling, and then I wrestled Saturday, Sunday, so I kind of one and done for those. So it was a little rough. I mean, I had the first year I made it, I had no intention of making it. I was just kind of doing the workouts. I mean, I'm going hard, 100% dying out there, but
you weren't like training for regionals.
No, and then even the week 5 of the Open, that's spring break for me, and our family goes on vacation. So I went down to Cancun, and I'm looking at the leaderboard, and they take top 20, and I'm sitting in like 16th, and I'm like, oh snap!
Shit.
Like I got to do this. Well, in Mexico, I went and found a gym and knocked out my final workout there. But yeah, once I got there, I'm a really kind of nervous guy. Like I try to like think about everything and go wrong and try to like figure out how I can stop that. Just kind of control the controllables. Yeah. And when I got there, I'm looking at all these athletes, and these are guys that like follow on Instagram or like look up to. So now I'm like there in person next to them, and I feel like I'm looking at like my arms and stuff, and I'm like, I'm freaking small.
Comparing,
like, these guys are huge. And then first workout I was there, I like puked right before. I was pretty fortunate that the first workout was kind of like a 25 minute workout. So I kind of had some time to compose myself, but you can look at the video and I'm like pale white, started out with a run, and I'm like looking to my left, looking to my right at all these people. And then kind of as the workout went on, I kind of knew that I could hold my own. And after that, it was good.
Yeah. Matt Frazier talks about that sometimes, how he like dry heaves and like pukes into his shirt before events. So, I mean, even the best does it. So, but yeah, that's funny that you talk about like the comparison thing. Cause like, I imagine, especially being so young and then seeing all those other competitors there, like you're obviously going to compare like, what does he squat? What can I squat?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Stuff like that. But I also like how you said like control the controllables, cause you can't control like how big someone else is, right? So like you can notice it and it's going to happen, but comparison is the thief of joy. So if you would have focused on that would have like psyched you out more, but you're like, no, I'm going to focus on what I can control and just do as best as I can. Well,
before we move on, like piggybacking off of that, going into regionals, my coach had me write a list of 100 things that I think that could go wrong. And it was ranging from like my shoe coming untied during a workout to my alarm not going off in the morning, not waking up, or missing my flight on the way there. So we went through and just wrote all these down. And then we made a list of what we can control and what we can't control. The ones that we can't control, we just crossed off, threw them out. And then the ones we can't control, we've got a plan of how we're going to do this. Like, like we're going to look at like the traffic the day before. We're going to leave early for the airport so we're not like late and miss our flight. Like we're going to set 2 alarms. Like your phone's going to have an alarm. My phone's going to have an alarm. I'm going to double knot my shoes, like whatever it may be. And just kind of had a plan for what could go wrong.
And who's your coach?
So I've been coaching with my coach from our level CrossFit, Corey Phelan, since probably a month ago. And I just got a new coach. His name's Adam Neifer. He's from CrossFit Fort Vancouver. He's been in the CrossFit Games since 2009. In 2017, his team got 3rd place.
Oh, nice.
Been team's athlete, so started working with him now.
Cool. I think I'm going to interview Corey next, because I think he took the 100 things from Ben Bergeron, because I read in Chasing Excellence, Ben Bergeron's book. He did the same thing with Katrin. He was like, okay, Katrin David's daughter, by the way. He's like, list 100 things that could go wrong at the CrossFit Games. So like exact same thing that you did. But one of her answers was shark attack, because they had the swim event. So there's no shark attack at regionals.
Oh,
but
I know, but
that'd be interesting. But I love that he did that.
Control that.
Yeah. Punch him in the nose. Okay. So let's see. We can edit this part out because I don't know what I'm going to ask next. I should have been keeping more up to date. I got too wrapped up in the conversation. Talked about experience at regionals. Oh, okay. So who were some of the like recognizable athletes that you saw your first year?
So my first year we had Josh Bridges. He was always kind of like my biggest idol. I mean,
everybody knows Josh Bridges.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, it's always kind of like people always talk about like meeting your heroes. Like, don't do it because they're not going to be like what you picture. And that was great. I mean, my second year was really crazy because obviously we had the super regionals. We were even combined with Canada. Shit. Yeah. So we had Fikowski. He was down there. He got second at the CrossFit Games the previous year. And then Joe Scally. We had Cole Sager, which is another one of Ben Bergeron's athletes. And that is another like outstanding dude right there. Yeah. Like how he is like on social media, that's how he acts in person. Like always outgoing, making a conversation, like saying hi to you. He doesn't care if you're the fittest dude in the world or you're just guy that just started CrossFit or somebody walking down the street. Like
that's awesome.
He doesn't care. He's a real awesome dude. And then Josh Bridges is always cracking jokes, having fun with it. I mean, I think that's the best thing out there. You have those guys that are like zoned in and not doing anything. And he's just kind of out there making conversation in the back room. So if like another athlete wants to take a picture with him, he's just really open to it. So he's a really good guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I met him at one of the competitions I did, the reindeer games. It's actually at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, different like location. But yeah, he was there. He's a good guy.
Yeah, going into my run event, I was with Josh Bridges. Me and him are like in the lanes right next to each other. So before we're going out on the floor, he's like, look at me, he's like, you're going to run in those shoes? And I'm like, well, I don't got any running shoes. I was just wearing CrossFit Metcons. I don't know if you guys know what Metcons are, but not really the best running shoes. No. He's like, he's a Nike sponsored athlete. So he's like, I love my Metcons, but I don't even think about running these. Like, so he had like these Nike Pegasus on. He's like, so right after regionals, I went and bought myself some Nike Pegasus.
Nice.
to run in, but
little tip from Josh Bridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that he like tells you that like mid competition.
Yeah.
Like, even though you're competing against him, like he's trying to help. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you were still in high school that year, right? 2017?
Yeah.
And then 2018, you're in college.
Yeah.
Correct. So you want to talk a little bit about how are you a full-time student?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how you balance training with school. Cause I know that a lot of people have some trouble with that.
Yeah. So going into college, I kind of had like a little bit of a game plan in my mind. I'm like, all right, like freshman year, like first year living on my own, like my parents were always super supportive throughout high school. So I was just like kind of get thrown in, live on my own. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be like an adjustment year. My sophomore year is going to be like, I'm gonna start figuring this out. And then my junior year, I was like, that's my year. Like that's the year I'm going to make some noise. But it was obviously super hard. I mean, pretty sure everybody knows in college is kind of a full-fledged party. I mean,
yeah,
you get thrown out there, no supervision, just kind of get to do what you want. So that was always a weird adjustment. And my parents were always like, we'd always cook family dinners. So my dad was cooking like chicken or steak. My mom was cooking up like vegetables, rice. We were always pretty healthy like household. So I was always around like good food. And then living in the dorms and stuff, I mean, it's just hard to have that. So we're eating at like, we had like the BRC and you're just going in there and you're like looking at everything and just the temptations are crazy. I mean, at dinner, they have a full-fledged cereal bar and I love cereal. So like, that's always tempting me. I always had pizza out there, but like.
And with cereal, you can't just have one bowl.
Oh,
like you're going to have another bowl of cereal.
Oh, I know. Like I would grab a to-go box and fill it up with cereal and take it home so I could snack on it that night. But yeah, so that was always hard. But at the same time, I mean, they always had a salad bar too. So you're like sitting there looking at it and you're like, what am I going to get?
Cereal, salad.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so like my freshman year, I was at my heaviest and I always thought like, so going back to my first year at regionals, I was looking at all those guys. I'm like, dude, I'm so small. And I was probably weighing in at like 185. And then I was like, shoot, like.
And how tall?
5'8". I was got right on there. I wrestled at 180. So I was just a little bit heavier than that. And then, so then my freshman year in college, I was like, all right, I got to get bigger. So then I was just like, I'm at like the BRC. I'm just grabbing like potatoes, chicken, rice, just like filling up my plate, just mixing it all up because the food sucks there. It's like trying to mix it all together, mix the good stuff with the bad stuff and then eating it. And I got up to 200, which 5'8", 200. It's not like
that's good size.
You're not going to be the fastest, most agile CrossFitter out there, but I ended up PRing all my lifts then, but my cardio wasn't the best. But in that next year at regionals, I was weighing around at 195 and that was kind of my weight, but I was still the muscle mass that I had. I still had I had some extra loving around my stomach for that size. And then now I kind of found that happy medium at about 187.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at right now, but.
So let's talk about like your schedule with school. Like when would you find the time to train? Because we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it requires a lot of time in the gym to be training at your level. So with going to school full time, how did you find time to do that? Did you go before, after, like lunch break or?
So my freshman year obviously is my hardest year. This past year, I live off campus now in my own house. But my freshman year, I would try to do something in the morning where it was like running or going to the bro gym, I like to call it, just the gym on campus. And then try to get all my classes either in the morning or the afternoon. So I had like late afternoon to evenings kind of to get my full training in, but I would just go to the CrossFit gym and I would try to get pretty much everything into one session. And that was probably like a three hour session. Just no time to slack off. I mean, you're doing one thing, you're setting up for the next, like in your breaks and stuff like that. And it's always hard too, because if you have class, then you don't want to interfere with like the CrossFit class that's going on. So you got to work around that CrossFit class schedule. Yeah. And that was always really hard. So my freshman year was definitely hard to find training. You just got to fit it in where you can. Just maximize your time. I mean, kids are out partying and stuff like that. And you're like, shoot, well, I know I got class at 9, so that means I got to wake up like 6. I got to eat. I got to get my workout in and go to class at 9. So you're trying to go to bed early, try to make whatever it can work. But
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. In college, obviously it's hard. Everybody's out partying, but if you are serious about being a competitive athlete, you can't be going out doing that every night. So you want to talk about how you like mentally prepare yourself, I guess, to like tell yourself, no, I'm not going to that party. I have to train. I have to go to bed. I have to eat, and then wake up in the morning and do it all over again. Yeah. Like, how do you deal with not having so much of a social life and what normal people would consider like fun?
Yeah. So I'm a big person like in building habits. And I think once you build a habit, it's really easy. I think one thing most people can relate to is starting a diet. Like everybody says that first week or two is really hard, but once you fight through that first week or two and you kind of get in that routine, like I'm going to eat this at this time and this at this, and it just kind of starts falling into the place. And then once you build that routine, then it becomes a habit, and then it's just natural. Like, this is just how I am.
This is just,
that's just like what I'm going to do. But so going in right back to college, I mean, all your friends are out partying and stuff, and you just got to, I mean, I had a list of like priorities, like what I value more. And I would just keep that in the back of my mind. And obviously there's sometimes I was just 18 years old in college. So
yeah,
you're always going to have some,
for sure,
some bad times, but I mean, you really got to buckle down when it counts. I mean, if you have a goal, I mean, you just got to think about that. I mean, I had it on a whiteboard in my room, like I'm making regionals this year or whatever, and I'm going to work for this. So just every night going out there and just knowing like, all right, I'm not going to drink because I want to do this. Like, just that feeling, and having the year before when I made regionals, that feeling of being there, I was like, I wanted that again. Yeah. And just having that drive to do it was awesome. And so once I kind of got in that routine of not drinking, me and my friends just kind of saw me like I was the CrossFit kid. So like they were super like reasonable with me, and I would go out to a party and then I was carrying my keys around, and I still wanted to go out and have fun with my friends. I'd big believer in like, I mean, you don't got to drink to have fun. You can go out there and have so much. People are like, oh, I can't drink, so I'm not going out. I'm like, no, you can go out and have fun. Like, that's just poor willpower. Like, that's mind over matter right there. It's just stronger mental game in my opinion. But just bring my keys. Somebody asked me to drink, like, no, man, I'm driving. And 99% of people are like, oh, like they won't even ask you again after that. But that's just people's sound mind. But
yeah, I've done the same thing because I haven't drank in like a year and 4 months now. And I was like, well, I still want to go hang with my friends. I'm just not going to drink. And I found it's a lot easier if you tell people your goals. Like, I'm not drinking because this, like, I'm training and I want to become a serious athlete. And then if they're actually your friends, hopefully they'll be on board and be like, okay, well, I guess I won't offer you another drink. And it's almost like, it's like delaying short-term satisfaction for like long-term gratification. Like, if you go to that party, it's going to be fun in the moment, but you're going to wake up the next morning and be like, fuck, like I didn't get all the sleep I needed. I have to train today. It's not going to be good.
And like piggybacking off that, like, even if you don't have to train the next day, like how many times have people woke up and be like, shit, I wish I didn't drink that much. And,
oh yeah.
And like that happens all the time. And if you really think about it, 2 or 3 days later, like, are you even going to really remember that night? Like, no, in significance, that night really didn't mean anything. I mean, going back to Ben Bergeron's book, he said, if you don't remember it 5 years from now, it never had really any importance. Yep. So that's what realizing that was kind of like a big thing for me. Like, Like, you can't tell me like 2 weeks ago what you did that night when you went out and partied or whatever it may be. So it was just kind of, I do remember like that training session I had, or like that PR I got, or that time I made regionals, that time I got 122nd in the world. And that just kind of leads me to a new goal I want to make.
That's your driving factor. Yep. I use that all the time, that 5-year thing. So when I'm upset about something, I just like calm down, breathe. I was like, is this going to matter in 5 years? And 99% of the time it's a no. Yeah. So it doesn't even matter. Just let it go. Yeah. No point being upset about it. Okay. Let's bring it back to, diet. So I imagine, like you said, at college, it's hard to get the quality of food that you want. So, being a serious athlete, you eat for performance, not just pleasure. You don't just eat what tastes good, or else you'd be eating cereal 24/7. So let's talk a little bit about that. How you make the right choices when there might not be like the best choices around, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So just from a starting point, like if you're just out there just trying to start eating healthy, I don't think that it's just like, all right, my diet starts today. Like, I'm full-fledged diet mode. Like, I'm cutting out this.
Takes like a lot of willpower.
I just think that's just way too hard to do. I think you need to take it like a chunk at a time. Like, all right, well, if you're somebody that drinks, like, all right, I'm not drinking Monday through Friday. Like, I'm only going to drink on the weekends, and just starting like that. And then you can cut on like, okay, I'm only going to drink 1 week in a month, and like just slowly starting to cut back to where like you can control it. So for me, I had it kind of easier. I haven't had fast food since 6th grade, like no In-N-Out, no Taco Bell, no nothing like that. And it's not that I don't like it. I mean, I know the food's bad for me. I'm sure I would love it if I had it, but, just not eating fast food is just like a big thing. Like, all right, so if you like look at like places to eat and you cut out all fast food, like most of your options, you can find something pretty healthy. I mean, whether you're getting like a sandwich or something like that, it's just going to be way better than
a McDouble or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So that was really big for me. And then I'm not a big soda drinker. I mean, I carry my Yeti around everywhere I go, filled up with water. And I'm just somebody, if I have it in my hand, I'm going to drink it. Yeah. So if I just always have a cup of water in my hand, I'm going to be sipping on water the whole time. So that was really big for me. But obviously, like I said, I had those cravings of cereal. I love pizza and all this. So that took some time to get in the hand. But like I just said, to tie it all together is that just to attack it step by step, make progressions. But I've always meal prepped my food. Just being in high school, like I said, it's really hard to eat and stuff. So every Sunday I would cook my food for the week. And I'm a pretty lazy guy. I don't want to every night. I want to go out there and like cook dinner, or I'm going to have chicken this night or steak or whatever it may be. Just Sunday nights, I cook my food for the whole week, plan it out. So when I wake up, it's like, all right, there's lunch, there's dinner.
Makes it easy. Yep.
I'm set. Makes it easy. I mean, so then it's just, I got to overcome that one day on Sunday. Mm-hmm. If I cook good food on Sunday, like I'm set for the week. Yep. So it's not like every night I have to overcome that battle of,
what am I going to have tonight?
Yeah. Like, am I going to eat something bad? Am I going to order pizza tonight? Yep. But then if I have my food made and it's ready, it's just like, shoot, pop it in the microwave and
it's like you don't even have to think about it.
You don't got to think about it. So, I think not eating out is a really big thing, and eating at home and cooking your own food, because you know exactly what's in it. And then that just comes down to shopping. I mean, when you're at the store, it's just that half hour or whatever it is at the store, you just got to make great decisions.
Don't allow yourself to grab the cookies.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Yeah.
So just make good decisions at the store. When you come home, it's just cooking your food right and planning it out. And I think that is the biggest thing that like keeps me on track.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because if it's in your house, you're going to eat it. So don't even get it at the store.
Yeah, if I get a box of cereal, I'm like, oh, it's in there. So I'm just going to finish it all so I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, it's gone by the night.
Yeah, and the next day you don't have to go to the store, you grab another snack, and you're like, okay, I just got to eat it so it's gone. And it's just a recurring factor.
Yep, over and over again. All right, let's talk a little bit about eating around training. Like, what do you eat post or pre-post? And if you eat anything during training, talk a little bit about that.
So I just started working with a nutrition coach. I've never had like a nutrition coach before. I think most people know what's bad food and what's good food. So now I just kind of trying to dial it into exactly what I want. Mm-hmm. And going back to like eating for performance or eating for like looks, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Eating for performance, you're just trying to fuel your body. So she gave me goals to eat, like a protein goal, fat goal, and carb goal. So your macros. And the time frame she told me to like eat is just so an hour and a half before my training session, I have to have a protein and carb snack and try to get like a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you're having 10 grams of protein, you're going to have 20 grams of carbs before you work out. And then post workout within 10 or 15 minutes, I'm having my shake, which is another, I have protein and carbs that I mix together. I have that 10 or 15 minutes after. And then an hour and 15 minutes after my session, I have to have a meal. So, and then I try to have a balanced meal with protein, carbs, and fats in it too. But that's just kind of my goal. So just for me personally, I wake up in the morning and I have my breakfast. I have Kodiak pancakes, which I love. They're not too bad for you. And then I have some 4 eggs and put some jelly on it and eat that. It's really good. And
jelly on your eggs or pancakes?
So I actually do this pretty weird. I think it's great. So like one morning I was cooking my eggs and I scrambled my eggs and put them in the pan and I forgot about them. So then they kind of cooked over like an omelet and I was like, oh, what the heck? So then I just scooped it up and flipped it like a pancake. So now I cook my eggs like a pancake pretty much. Yeah. So I threw that on the plate, cook my waffle, put my waffle on top of my pancakes and then I put jelly on my pancake.
No way.
Eat it all like that.
Like an egg pancake sandwich?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. We should try that.
It's pretty good. And then I try not to have fats in the morning before I work out because they're slow digesting and it's just going to slow you down. So, but in the times when I work out later in the afternoon, I put peanut butter on it too.
That's good.
It's pretty good.
Man. Yeah, when I make Kodiak cakes in the evening, I go all out because I need all the calories. I cook it in like coconut oil, put grass-fed butter on it, syrup, jelly, like everything. Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about how many hours a day you train. Like in school and out of school, I imagine it's probably a little bit different. And then what those training sessions consist of, like what you do, like if you do lifting first and then Metcon or whatever.
Okay. So, going back to where I live in Boise and I have my own house down. I have a garage out back and I have a home gym set up in there. So that makes it really accessible. I mean, it's got to walk out my back door and I'm in a gym now. So, I try to do pretty much 2 main sessions and probably like twice a week I'll do 3 sessions. And Monday through Wednesday it's training, Thursday's rest day, Friday, Saturday training, Sunday's rest day. And that's kind of my routine throughout the week. I mean, CrossFit is defined as constantly varied functional movements performed at a high intensity. So that constantly varied part
could be anything. Pretty
key. So you're trying to do everything. I mean, you're trying to like consistency or not consistency,
variance?
No, opposite of variance. Maybe consistency. Like if you're doing the same thing every day, like that's bad. You want to stay away from that.
Yeah.
So, you're always trying to mix it up. So if you're like lifting in the morning and then, like kind of more cardiovascular work in the afternoon, you always want to switch it out. So then like maybe like the next week, like, all right, I'm going to throw in some cardio in the morning. I'll lift in the afternoon because your body starts getting accustomed to like, all right, in the mornings I'm lifting or whatever that may be. So you always kind of want to throw set map. You mean CrossFit as the hopper. I mean, put a bunch of stuff in a bin, mix it up and pick it out. And like, all right, well, that's what I'm doing today. So
got to prepare for the unknown and the unknowable.
Yeah. So every day I try to hit a little bit of everything. I have a sheet that we fill out and it's like, I just put like a little check mark next to each thing and it says like sub 5-minute workout, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 and above, body weight movements, light, medium, heavy weights. Then I have like bike, clean, jerk, row, sled, kettlebells. And I just have like all this stuff lifted out and I go through the day and I put an X next to everything I did that day. So, I mean, the day-to-day scheme is you can't tell, but like 2 or 3 weeks in, you're like, oh shoot, I haven't done this in so long, or I haven't done kettlebell swings in a 20-minute workout. So I'm like, all right, so now I need to incorporate kettlebell swings in a 20-minute workout. So just trying to like hit all it's across the field, everything. And then, I mean, I have some weaknesses. My upper body strength is not the best. So now every day I'm trying to bench a little bit. Wall balls is a weakness for me. So now every day for a warm up, I do wall balls now. So just kind of hone in on those weaknesses and try to get better at them.
Yep. So are you the one that does your programs, because you said you have like the spreadsheet. So are you the one like picking out, okay, I'm going to do this today and then maybe that tomorrow, or is that your coach?
It's kind of like it's both of us. We have a Google sheet that we,
like a shared Google Doc.
Yeah, shared Google sheet that we all get to go on, and he posts my workouts every day. I mean, like there's normally 6 or 7 pieces of them, and I go through and I try to take notes like as I go so I don't forget. So then at night I sit down, I'm like, all right, so in this workout, like I felt really good. I think maybe I came out too hot and my transition times are really slow, or man, during this workout, my arms just got lit up like crazy. And then I write down my times, how I felt, like anything of significance of the workout. So if we ever retest it, or like, man, every time I've done like wall balls and a workout over 10 minutes, I die.
Yeah.
So you just start kind of figuring out what your weaknesses are. And that's what it really helps on. And then we kind of communicate back and forth to try to figure out what we need to do.
What's on the menu today?
Today, we got a bunch of snatch work. We got snatch deadlifts, snatch pulls, snatch balance, some hang snatches, and then I got to work out with some snatches in it. And then
snatch everything.
Oh, yeah.
Love those snatches.
Yep. And then my coach knows I'm back home. I'm originally from Boise. Now we're back in California right now. So my coach just said, hey, just get some friends together, go work out, and let me know what you do. I mean, he told me like stay away from a lot of shoulder work because we've been hitting that pretty hard this week. So I think that's one thing too, is you just got to have fun with your training. Once you start dreading going into the gym, like it's just not fun.
Well, I think that there's a place for that, especially training to become like a serious competitive athlete. There's going to be days where it's monotonous, especially for probably like people who do the same thing, like maybe Olympic lifters. They got to go in and do like a clean pull and then like some form of snatch like every single day.
Yeah.
And if you're at that stage, like it's okay to kind of be monotonous, but if you don't love it at least a little bit, then it's time to find something else, switch it up a little bit. But yeah, I think I'll go to the gym with you and do some snatches.
Oh yeah.
I suck at snatches, overhead mobility. It's my own fault. I don't work on it enough. I know. Yeah, I think we'll kind of wrap it up there. So anything else you want to say?
I hope that was it.
Final words? Good.
No more words of wisdom. Just.
All right. Well, then let's tell people where they can find you. Yeah.
I mean, I'm working out in a level CrossFit. I'm usually here all summer, and then I'm in Boise, Idaho. My Instagram's Justin Medeiros 34. Hit me up on Instagram if you have any questions, or if you're in the area and want to get a workout in.
Yep. Sweet. All right. Well, Justin, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget, live the captain's lifestyle. Peace.